There is a grotesque irony and obscene consistency about this occurring during Israel Apartheid Week on Canadian campuses. In Israel, 5 people are slaughtered like animals in their sleep. A family, 3 children, including a 3-month-old baby, a little baby. Could you cut the throat of a baby sleeping in its cot? Could you do that? This is what happened when a terrorist decided he was so angry with the way he was treated in Israel that he would murder innocent people. Now, I understand the nuances of this situation. Believe me, I've been there enough times. We have to have justice for all. But if you're really that angry, and if you want to be violent, I don't approve of that, but if you do, there are so many people in Israel in uniform, police, soldiers, and so on. But why do that if you can slaughter a baby? He went into the home, he made sure he murdered the parents and then the children. Another child came back after being out at a meeting, was shaking their mummy and daddy. Please wake up, please wake up. There was blood everywhere. In Gaza, what was the response? Remember, they're starving in Gaza. They gave out cake and candy. How's that for a starving people? I'm not saying here all Palestinians rejoiced in this. Many have said it's appalling, it's brutal, it was unacceptable. But many in Palestine and their supporters outside are saying another victory. Is that your victory? Is it really? Israel Apartheid Week? Michael Corrin Show. Join me. This is not funny at all. Every now and again you get this wake-up call about how dark the situation can be. There's conflict in the world, there's violence, but let's see some pictures, please, of the Fogel family together and pictures of the children and the father. We've chosen not to show the photographs, and they're all over the internet. You can see them if you want, of these people. Here's the family after they were slaughtered. They're very bloody and they're very graphic, so we've chosen not to show those photographs. But here's the family, mother, father, the baby's 3 months old, 2 little children. Their throats were cut, they were stabbed to death in their sleep. And just think about that for a moment, please, because as I mentioned in the commentary, and I'm not going to apologize for saying this, Israel Apartheid Week, it's no Israel Apartheid 2 weeks, where people scream about how evil the Jewish state is. Now, you can criticize Israel, we should. Most Israelis criticize things their country does. But if someone is angry, they want to attack a soldier or a cop. But to go into a home where these people are asleep and to cut the throat of a 3-month baby and 2 little children, and what sort of people do this? And then in Gaza, where allegedly they're starving, they're handing out cake and candy to people and celebrating. Not every Palestinian. I know many are disgusted by this. But, Andrew, how is Israel meant to react? If it responds now with attacking its enemies, you know it'll be accused by the usual suspects of being aggressive. But this is horrible. Now, they were settlers. Where they were is very close to the main part of Israel. And even if you have an objection to them being there, so you cut the throat of a baby?
Well, I think what we need to do is we need to stop expecting better of the Palestinians. Not all of them, but of the ones in question. We need to stop expecting that stuff like this won't happen. And I think this is the major issue, is that people, want to keep saying that, Israel is the criminal here, Israel is committing genocide, Israel is doing all this bad stuff. Well, the facts suggest otherwise.
Genocide.
But exactly. I mean, this is the crap that we have to endure, though. I mean, this is the stuff I know you've been speaking about Israel Apartheid Week. I mean, the whole foundation of that is that Israel's committing apartheid. So what we need to do is we need to start backing off. I mean, Israel, despite the negative PR campaigns about Israel, really, Israel doesn't have to fend off attacks from other countries for defending itself. People like to say mean things about them, people like to say bad things about them, but Israel really has nothing to lose by defending itself except for its public image, and unfortunately by the people in question, the people that support the Islamists and the Palestinian Muslims, those people are already going to hate Israel no matter what. It's entrenched in them. I think Israel needs to just continue to fight back. I don't think they have any other option.
If you spend time there, you'll meet many Palestinians who do not hate Israel and do not want Israel to disappear. It tends to be people in the West who are not Palestinian who are more radical on this issue. A mass of Palestinians, they'll complain and so on, but the idea of 2 states coexisting, they're comfortable with that. Then you'll go to some university and see a publicly funded extremist, very white, who doesn't know the region at all, screaming about how we must destroy this genocidal state. And the reality is, so last week on this show, we had Israeli, Bedouin, Arab, Muslim, diplomat, former high-ranking member of the Israeli Defense Forces, Supreme Court judge in Israel who's an Arab, the presidents of 2 hospitals of a university. I mean, the idea that there's apartheid in Israel is frankly laughable. It's simply not true. It doesn't mean the state is perfect, but it's not that, Mike. I mean, whatever the conflict, a high-ranking Nazi, the commander of a death camp, his children shouldn't have their throats cut. That man should be brought to justice. But to cut the throat of a little 3-month-old baby and the 2 siblings.
There is no rhyme or reason to anything that goes on there. You cannot, it's not tribal like Iraq or Libya. But you go in there and the most heinous things are excused, not excused, but the most heinous reasons are used to do these things, and they try to make it all go back to political. You know, and in this case, it's beyond disgusting. You know, beyond disgusting. I mean, baby, 3 months old, 5-year-old, 35-year-old man, 36-year-old woman, their wife, husband. It makes no sense to me. It just makes none.
How do you feel that it takes place? I'm not saying anyone here is to blame, of course they're not, but just the context of this. Israel apartheid, Israel is accused of being the worst country in the world by people on by some on university campuses. This happens at the time. If I was one of the organizers of Israel Apartheid Week, I would say at this point, just call it off. Just leave it for this year at least. Let's say no more at this point. They won't, I can assure you of that.
I think in places like, and I'm going to say it, York University, a lot of that stuff is used to couch anti-Semitism. A lot of it's used to couch bigotry. It's almost as though, you know, they say history repeats itself, but I've seen a lot of things on university campuses now that basically come down to intolerance. And you'll use something else that's going on in another country to mask it, so that you don't look like a bad individual.